Hello, welcome to month 28 of my TBR Zero project. I'm Julian, and this is my project to read every single print book that I own. Or at least decide I don't want to read them. That's happened, and it will happen again, I am sure. I currently have 785 books on my physical TBR. Yes, that's a lot. Yes, this project's going to be going for a while, but that also means that there is an archive of videos for you to dive into if you are interested. So please check that out on the front page of my channel if you're interested. And without any further ado, I'm going to get cracking on this month because I need to run to the library. And that is to return the first book I finished reading. It's Your Wedding, a step-by-step guide down the aisle by Georgie Mitchell. I requested this from the library months and months and months ago and have finally got around to finishing it. It's essentially a guidebook for clueless brides. I'm getting married next year. I wanted to make sure I had all the bases covered, so I picked this up. It does make some assumptions about kind of wedding you're having. Like, it throughout the book generally assumes there'll be a bride and a groom, not two brides or two grooms. There are a few references to cases where that might not be what's going on, but you know, few and far between. It does assume, for the most part, that there's a bride and a groom and a mother of the bride and a father of the groom and all of those kind of things. And yeah, you'll have to do a little bit of translation, I think, in your head to use this if that's not the case for your wedding. It also assumes that you're having like a Western style wedding as well. It does make allowances for like if you have a celebrant, and so you might be doing different things in your ceremony, and it does have some ideas of how you could kind of personalize that style of wedding to you. But it does assume you're going to want to follow that sort of traditional Western, I guess, British American wedding format and not kind of play around with the order of the day and the types of things you do that much. So yeah, I think that's kind of for brevity. I think that's kind of for brevity though, because if it was going to cover like every possible type of wedding that you might want to have, it would not be as quick and easy a book to read through as it is. So yeah, maybe there's a more comprehensive guide to weddings out there. I would like to know. I'm genuinely interested. But if you are completely clueless, you need somewhere to start, I recommend this. Now, I'm going to stop filming this video. I haven't read any TBR books yet, it's too early in the month, and I'm going to go take this back to the library, but I wanted to tell you about it before I go. Hello, I just got back from work / book club. I am mostly in pyjamas. I've got my 3 pairs of socks on because it's cold, and I like to put on as many layers as humanly possible. Move back a bit so I'm more comfortable. There we go, that works. Hey, yellow socks. So, update, have actually read some TBR books. Well, one TBR book that was on my TBR last month and one that only made it onto my TBR this month. So the first one I finished reading was Claire de Lune by Christine Johnson. This is a werewolf story about a girl who discovers on her 16th birthday that she is a werewolf. I really enjoyed the way that the werewolf lore was built into the setting. So in this world, everybody knows about werewolves, but nobody really knows about werewolves. So people are aware that they exist. There are various attempts to hunt them and cure them, but people don't really know the truth about them. And I just thought that was such an interesting setup. The main character has a thing for this boy whose father is like a kind of head werewolf hunter type who is trying to develop a cure and proves that it works in order to continue to get funding. And yeah, that makes her life very complicated. I really enjoyed this one. It was a lot of fun. It's very sort of like young teen kind of vibes, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. Then I acquired not 1, not 2, but 3 new books for my TBR. The first one was a sequel to Holly Black's book, Book of Nights, which I will not wave at you because I think I've still got it in the box and haven't fully opened it yet, but I should do soon to check it's all okay. I got that in the Lune edition. I really need to finish Book of Nights and then I will read that hopefully quite quickly. And then I was walking past a local free book swap shelf and I spotted Sophia Khan and the Baby Blues. I really enjoyed the first 2 Sophia Khan books, which were full-length novels. This is a quick read kind of little novella book, which picks up after the events of the second book. I won't talk about them too much because it might spoil those books for you. Like, it, you know, everything that happens in this book relates to characters from the first 2 books. So, yeah, I can't say a lot, but I really loved this. I thought it was wonderful. Enjoyed it so much. Would highly recommend. And I just generally really love the Sofia Khan books. I feel really pleased with myself that I read this straight away. And also, I discovered something new. I can read small paperbacks whilst on my walking pad. Isn't that amazing? And I'm thinking, like, once I run out of small hardbacks, then I could read books on my e-reader whilst on the walking pad. And that's brilliant because I'm both reading and exercising at the same time. What is not to love? And reading, like, getting through my TBR books rather than just reading audiobooks. Incredible. I have won at life, I think, by figuring this out. Also, on that free book swap shelf, I saw Always in December. When I first picked this up, I thought, I'm sure this premise sounds familiar to me. But as I read the back, I realised it's set in London, which the book I was thinking of is not. And so I am really excited to read this. There aren't many Christmas books that are actually set in London, so I am hopeful that this actually continues on in London, but we'll see. I'm not going to read it just yet because I'm doing my spooky reads. I'm going to save this one for when I get on to Christmas reads, and I'm actually, you know, completely fine with the fact I picked this up because I don't have any Christmas books on my TBR at the moment. So it is actually okay for me to add another one. Yeah. Otherwise it would just be reward books, which, you know, would mean a good incentive, but still. Oh, I don't think I'm ever going to do this position again because I'm a massive neck ache. Maybe if I'd, like, got the camera down at a different angle so I didn't have to sort of look up into it, then maybe that would work better, but who knows. Anyway, I don't think I'm going to try it again. It is just uncomfortable. I thought it would be, like, really cool for me to lie like this and a bit different, but yeah, it's not working. It's not working. Anyway, that is my update. Hopefully I will finish another book in a couple of days and be able to tell you all about that. I do have a couple of on the go, but I'm not going to bring them in and tell you about them just now because my neck really is hurting. Hello, it is now Monday the 13th and I have finished another book. Hooray! That is Twister by Juliette Forrest. Look at this book, it is just stunning. I love the liner cut design and the gold foiling. I think I got this at an event. It's a middle grade published by Scholastic and it's about a girl called Twister whose father has gone missing and the quest that she sets out to find him, accompanied by her dog and making a couple of new friends slash enemies along the way. It was a pretty easy read. I read most of it whilst on the treadmill, actually, because it's not very long. It's only, there we are, 283 pages of quite big text as it goes, and there are, like, chapter breaks and things throughout the book, so yeah, a nice quick easy read. And another one off the TBR. Then, as a sort of antidote to all the darkness and spookiness in that book, I am reading My Roommate is a Vampire by Jenna Levine. I picked this up because I saw somebody recommend it on Instagram and I just couldn't resist the premise. It's about a would-be art teacher who is struggling to find a good job, is getting kicked out of her latest apartment when she happens across a ad for a amazing sounding apartment at a really low price, and she thinks, what's the catch? She goes there to check it out. The guy seems a little bit strange and old-fashioned but very handsome, and so she manages to persuade herself to go for it because after all it is a great deal. And yeah, she is in the process of moving in, getting used to it, and she doesn't know that he's a vampire yet, but I'm sure it's going to come up as it is on the cover. Yeah, but yeah, I'm finding it such an easy read, really fun, just the kind of thing that I need at the moment. So yeah, hopefully I will continue to have a very enjoyable time with this book. It's one of these books where I can already tell that I'm going to be kind of sad when it's over because I'm enjoying it so much, but I can't not read the book because I'm excited to read the book. I have to still read the book. Hello, it is now the 28th of October. I've got to be honest, the last time I filmed from this angle, it was because I wanted to film from a different angle because it's more interesting. This time it's because I have all my pyjama stuff strewn across the bed and I need to put it on in a minute, so I'm not going to put it somewhere less messy. So yeah, I'm here to save myself time. Anyway, I've got quite a big update for you today. I finished My Roommate is a Vampire. Absolutely loved it. Definitely going to check out the other books in this series. It was so sweet, so cute, so funny. The way that like the plot part of this story was resolved in the end was so funny. It was just brilliant. Adored it. Would probably read again. That's how much I enjoyed it. And yeah, I am going to hopefully get to the other books in this series soon-ish. They're definitely going on the reward book list. Then Sunday, on the way back from MCM London Comic Con, I finished reading Touchy Subjects by Emma Donoghue. This is a collection of short stories. I started reading this, I think, a few months back. I took it to work to read at lunchtime. I like having a short story book on the go at work because I can keep it in my locker. I don't have to have it in my bag weighing me down. My commute is mainly walking, so I tend to listen to audiobooks or podcasts or music whilst going to and from work rather than reading print books. So I don't generally have one in my bag when I'm going to work, but I like to have a book in the office. So the great thing about short stories is I can just read one or two at lunchtime and then put it back in my locker and then pick it up again the next time I'm in the office. I enjoyed this quite a lot. I'm not sure the author's writing style is exactly my thing, and I kind of want to read one of her novels to see if it's different in a longer format. So I know she wrote Room, but that one really doesn't appeal to me that much. I am more interested in reading Slamakin, which I think is mentioned in the back of this book. It's got like little kind of promos for other books in the back of it. Yeah, I am much more interested in the sound of that story. So I might pick that one up and give that a go at some distant point in the future once I've devoured a bit more of my current TBR. Then yesterday I finished my first reward book of the month, and that was the third Gilmore Girl by Kelly Bishop. I really enjoyed this. It's so nice to get a bit more insight into a actor who has been on Gilmore Girls and briefly in a few episodes of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which I'm actually watching at the moment. And yeah, just to hear a bit more about her life story, which is actually quite fascinating, and like the ups and downs that her career and her personal life has had over all this time. She started out as a ballet dancer, then went into kind of musical theatre dancing and acting, and even had to do some singing, although she maintains that she doesn't have a very good singing voice. And then she ended up going into TV as well, and it's just such a like wide-ranging career, and it was obviously one of the most important things in her life, and it's just really, really interesting to see her going through all of these different stages. There's also a bit of insight into Gilmore Girls and Bunheads and everything that went on with those shows. I really enjoyed those aspects too. Then today, just now, I finished reading The Hungover Games by Sophie Heawood. I actually only picked this up this month. I picked it up was it at work? Yeah, it was at work in the bookshelf that we have in the office. I follow the author on Instagram, but I never got round to reading this book. So when I saw it, I was like, yeah, I'll take that. I'll bring that home. It is very similar to everything I've learned about Love by Dolly Alderton, in like the kind of like the style of it and the sort of like snappy chapters and like kind of unashamed portrayal of a woman who enjoys partying and meeting different people. The difference with this one is that from basically the very start of the book, she is pregnant. So it's a kind of story of her adjusting to life as a expecting mother and then as a mother, and how that affects her life, but ultimately she's still the same person and she still wants to live a really rich, full life. And yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. There's this one chapter about a fart. It's just brilliant. That one made me laugh so much, and I feel like my mum should read it because she always enjoys a good fart joke. So that's where I'm at now. I'm thinking I'm going to start reading another memoir because I enjoyed this one so much, and it's kind of nice to have one on the go. I need one with like quite short, snappy chapters. I think this one has short, snappy chapters, and that made it like quite pasty feeling to go through. And so yeah, I'm gonna have a look at the memoirs I've got on my shelf and see if I can find something else where it has that sort of hopefully quite fast-paced feel. I am currently also reading Start of a 10, which I started at... Did I start it on Friday? Yeah, I started it on Friday because I was having lunch by myself because my partner had gone to MCM on Friday. He had the day off work because it's his stand. I will give up my weekend for MCM, but I will not give up my annual leave. So I was having lunch by myself and I wanted to read a book that I didn't need to worry about getting soup on. So, you know, like a lot of my books are like nice hardbacks, and so I'm obviously not going to read those whilst having soup, but this quite beaten up paperback of Starter for 10, which I picked up for free. I didn't mind. So that became my food book, and that might remain my food book for a while, I'm thinking. I really enjoyed the bits that I read. It made me laugh out loud several times, even though I'm only a few chapters in, which is quite an impressive feat. But yeah, I think I want to savour it, and it will be a good one to keep as my food book for a bit. Or if I have a long train journey, I might take it with me for that. I have been continuing to very slowly eke my way through Happy City. I am enjoying it enormously. It's just that because it is a kind of very factual non-fiction book, I want to read it slowly so that the information actually sinks in and I remember some of the things that I learn rather than sort of race through it. Do I have anything else on the go? No, I don't. Oh, I am listening to Sound Effects by Julian Treasure still, which I think I mentioned in a previous update. If I did not, here is a bit now about it. It is a book about sound and its impact on us and the world. It is another one that is super interesting, but I don't want to race through it all in one go. I want to listen to it slowly in the hope that I remember more of the information. I have a couple of audiobooks out of the library as reward books. So I have Funny Story by Emily Henry and The Favourites. Oh, who is The Favourites by? Once I've read it, I will tell you. So I have those out at the moment, but I haven't started either of them yet. I will probably start one, let's think, possibly tomorrow on the way home from work. I'll probably listen to Sound Effects in the morning because I have kind of the brain for non-fiction in the morning, and then by the evening I often tend to just want to listen to some fiction or a podcast or some music, to be honest, because my brain is fried. But we'll see. Maybe I will start tomorrow evening and then carry on Thursday evening as well, because I'm going into the office 2 days running this week. So yeah, that is my plan. I have not read as many spooky books this month as I thought I would. I mean, I have read 3 so far, I think. Yeah, 3. I have a lot of my pile of potential books. Now, I celebrate the 13 days of Halloween, which is something I invented to make Halloween feel like almost as exciting as Christmas. And that begins on Halloween and continues on for 12 more days after that. So my kind of spooky books period is not up yet. It's not up yet. And of course you can read spooky books at any time of year. It's just that I like reading to sort of set the tone, contribute to the atmosphere of the time of year. So I do want to read as many of those as possible, but I don't know how many I'll actually get to because I have been getting through some of the paperbacks, and now I think there are 5 paperbacks left, and then the rest of the pile is hardbacks, so we shall see. But I don't actually have that much on my plate right now. I am up to date with Wedmin. I'm just waiting on replies from people. I have responded to most of my friends who I was trying to organise like meetups with and things like that. I have done all of the sort of like volunteering work that I needed to get done. And so yeah, apart from like reading one friend's book, which I have been meaning to read for absolutely ages and couldn't when I wasn't well, because I just knew I wouldn't have the brain power to be able to give useful feedback. I need to get onto that at some point, but I need like I need a couple of days to like have a substantial period of time to devote to that, I think, to really give it the best shot. But yeah, other than that, I have reading time. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping to do some writing of my own this weekend as well. Other than that, reading. Wish me luck, and you'll see me again in a moment with an update. So it is now November, and I am here, as you might expect, to do my final update and my tally. So I once again reached for the Pound Project books and read How to Build a Life Part 1 and Part 2 by Laura Jane Williams, who is probably best known for writing her memoir Becoming, and also a whole bunch of rom-com books. I have been a subscriber to her relatively recent newsletter, How to Build a Life, since pretty much it started, I think, actually. And then also, obviously, when she brought out a little book, or pair of books, with the Pound Project, who are a publisher that I find really exciting, of course I had to get it and read it. So yeah, really enjoyed it. Like all the Pound Project books that I've had so far, it will be one that I revisit. I love how all of the books that I have had from them kind of encapsulate someone's kind of mental state and thought processes at a particular point in time. I think that's so interesting. So yeah, I will definitely be buying more books for them in the future. I mean, I just can't imagine not. And it was so nice as well that this was built out of Laura Jane Williams' newsletter as well. So it is original content, but it really delves deep into the topics that she's covered on her newsletter. So it was nice to get a little bit more of that. And I also finished, this was all on the last day of the month, by the way, How We Met. I adored this. So this is a memoir about the author's experience trying to find a husband as a British Muslim woman, and the ups and downs, how this intersects with her choices about herself, her career, what she wants out of life, and how in the end she ends up choosing a kind of potential convert who then becomes a convert, who is white British, and all of the issues that then means she has to explore and resolve within her family group. And what I really enjoyed about this was it wasn't a sort of simple dismissal of her cultural background and, oh, you know, I'm just going to do what I want. And then equally, it wasn't a sort of like, well, you know, my family are right, and so therefore we should do exactly what they say in the kind of the opposite direction. It was actually about compromise and about working things out and trying to make other people as happy as they can be whilst remaining true to yourself. And so yeah, I found it really interesting because it explored that sort of tension between being part of a group and being an individual, and how real life isn't always as simple as just being like, I'm going to do what I want without thinking about other people. Sometimes there are things you want to resolve and you want to explore and you want to try and get to a satisfying conclusion for all concerned. You know, we live in a society, and so yeah, this can often be a really difficult balance and a kind of difficult topic for people. I really loved how carefully and reflectively the author wrote about it in this book. And that was it. That was the month. So on with the tally. So I read 1 library print book, I read 1 library audiobook, and I read 8 TBR books, which sounds great. But then you have to take into consideration that it also acquired 5 books. Yeah, So all in all, I started the month with 785 books on my TBR, and I finished the month with 782. So yeah, I have a lot of feelings about that. It almost does worse, except I put back some books that I'd picked up. Was it 2 or was it just 1? I can't remember. I definitely remember that. Yeah, I picked a book up because I couldn't really like test reading it because it was too dark. And then there was another one where I was in a hurry because it was raining, I think. And so I thought, you know what, I will just take these home and I'll look at them, and if I don't want to keep them, I will take them back. And one of them I just decided, actually, you know what, I'm not in that much of a hurry to read this book. I know it's one I can get from the library easily, so I'm just going to put that back. And then the other one, I started to read it and I immediately thought I'd rather listen to this on audiobook. So I decided to put it back and add it instead to my library wish list so that I could listen to the audiobook instead. So yeah, I picked up books and then I put them back, so they don't count. Also, out of those 5 books, I have actually already read 2 of them. So one of them was the Hungover games and the other one was Sophia and the Baby Blues. So although they added to my TBR, they also came off the same month, which is obviously not neutral because, you know, potentially I could have read 2 other books that were already on my TBR, but I feel like it still could move to have read them right away. And then out of the books that I acquired, the other 3 books that I acquired this month, none of them were books that I could read this month because they were either that Christmas book that I've already mentioned, or they were fantasy books where I'm not going to read them yet because I want to read other books in the series first. So yeah, I can actually read one of them now because I've read the book that comes before it. But yeah, I might even start that this evening after I finish filming this video, you never know. Yeah, the other one, no, I'm not going to read that one for a while. So I feel like I tried, but I didn't fully succeed. And I am proud of myself for putting the books back. And I am proud of myself for reading 8 books of my from my TBR total. But it's not, I'm just not making the fast headway that I was hoping I would. And I'm really thinking, definitely, at the end of this 50 books, I am going to switch to reading 3 books from my TBR before I get 1 reward book. I feel like I definitely have to do that to try and pick up the pace. I already changed the rules and decided that I can read audiobooks of books that I own in hard copy. And so I'm hoping that that will also help speed things up a bit before I get to that point of that big rule change that I'm going to do after this 50 books. But yeah, we'll just have to see how I go, I think, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I will pick up the pace some point. Of course, there is the big C word coming up, and it is possible that I will want to ask for some books for Christmas. So that's another thing. That's another reason to try it and read as much as I can. But yeah, we'll see. I don't want to undo like my whole hard work, but I also don't want to say I'm not allowed to ask for any books for Christmas because that would be very sad. So yeah, I'm going to be thinking about how to deal with that one over the next couple of weeks. But in the meantime, let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. Let me know also if you are doing a TBR 0 or other similar project, or really any kind of reading project at all. I just love reading projects. I love personal projects, just setting a target for yourself, making a plan, setting some rules and having fun within that structure. So please let me know about yours, and you will see me again soon. Bye!